Hi, guys, and welcome to the Dead by Tomorrow podcast. My name is Daniel Winter, and my co host is Andrew Monroe. In each episode, Andrew and I will explore topics that you should think about before you die. We encourage you to remember that some tomorrow will be your last, so each day could be your final chance to really live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We are, as always, thrilled to have you on. Daniel and I have just wrapped up our Presence Challenge, and we're going to go over that a little bit with you guys, let you know what we found, what we liked, what we disliked, and then we'll jump into this next challenge, which is 80% of September, 80% of September, and like 10% of October seems to be how we're going. So we'll give you the August/10% September update and jump into the next challenge. So, Daniel, how was your weekend? Everything good?
Everything's good. It was Labor Day weekend, so spent some time hanging out with the family. My parents came up, and we ate some food, got a lot of Riley time. I played a little. It was basically just like a Frisbee practice. I think it was supposed to be like a showcase game or something like that, but marketing is not the team's strong suit. So there were some passerbys that probably were like, wow, these guys look way too color coordinated to be playing this stupid sport. They're probably stupid, and then walked on.
So something, when you talked about that, just out of my curiosity, I didn't realize there'd been a name change. When did the name change happen?
Oh, from Roughneck to Legion?
Yeah, I like Legion. It's cool.
Yeah, the name change happened this year. So when the Roughnecks were started, it was like a 3-part ownership. There were 3 parties. And then this year, one of the parties bought out the other 2 parties. Ironically enough, one of the parties he bought out was the party that had, all the money. So money's kind of been tight this year, I suppose. So when they bought it out, they did a whole like name and brand change. So changed it from Roughnecks to Legion.
Okay, cool. Well, I listened to that, wow, I forgot the name already. Man at Arms book. And
yes.
I'm back on the Legion train. So
that book was excellent. I finished it yesterday. Yep.
Oh wow, there you go.
I did.
We'll have to. What'd you think?
I thought it was a really good book. I was getting vibes of like The Mandalorian, but I felt like the story was just a lot better. So you know how I feel about The Mandalorian.
Analogy. Yeah, it's totally Mandalorian.
Huh. But yeah, it was good. The ending was, the ending was a little more poignant than I expected.
Yeah, it was rough. So I enjoyed it though. Very emotional. It was a darkish book too. Like, don't come into that book if anybody's listening and wants to read it. It's not going to make you feel happy necessarily.
No,
they deal with some stuff. So how did the challenge go for you? We took some pictures, or at least I attempted to take pictures every day. I know you took pictures almost every day, and we did a food journal. So let's start with the pictures. How did taking pictures go for you?
It's ironic that you say that, because I was going to come in and confess that probably the last maybe like 5 days, I just kind of fell off the picture train. I kind of lost some steam. But early on, I was going strong. It was fun to try to take different pictures of the things that I was doing. So we, have things like a lobster boil. I took a picture of my Chemex just to kind of write about sort of my daily routine, because what I tried to do if I had more time and if I was more thoughtful was I tried to write a little bit more something to go alongside the picture. So my Chemex had a nice little entry just about like how I really enjoy my morning routine. I make coffee and eggs and toast pretty much every morning. I recently got a scale so I can get a little bit more precise with the coffee making. And it's just, I start my day out on a high note every day. And then, as the picture challenge went on, I think my last picture was Jake standing on a bench looking at a tree, and it just says cute dog, which he is a cute dog, but
he is.
Obviously not a lot of thought went into that one.
Where's that picture taken at? That does not look like your house.
No, I was walking around the neighborhood. There's a neighborhood garden down the street.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things that I now sort of wish I had been more consistent in taking daily pictures, because looking back at the month, it's kind of cool to see like, oh yeah, we did, that lobster boil, and like it was just this month that I finished my deck project. And then, we did a little family trip to Tyler, Texas, seeing some pictures of that. And, did had a Frisbee tournament. We got our jerseys in, we got a team picture. So that was a whole lot of fun. So yeah, it's definitely meaningful to look back to the month and say, wow, there were a lot of really cool things that happened this month.
So
How
that
did you feel about the picture challenge?
well, so I enjoyed it, and I have the same thing when I'm just looking back through it. And I'm like, wow, that was less than 30 days ago. Holy crap! Uh, there's this quote I was talking to my dad about just maybe last week, the week before, and the quote is, "Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years." And it's usually business related, but I feel like it also scales down to like a day versus a month. Like most of us probably overestimate what we can get done in a day, but most of us also underestimate what gets done in a month. Because going back through this, I'm like, wow, that was just last month, and all this different stuff and all the, I guess, the emotional roller coaster that goes with all these different pictures that I'm seeing. Each one had like its little moment, so it was kind of cool. I definitely did the same as you. The last few days, I did not do as well taking pictures. I threw one last one up that was just a selfie on the plane with Shalomi. It's that typical photo of Shalomi and I. For a pretty weak. Did it while I was driving, doing some errands. Um, but other than that, like a lot of them, same thing. I put in some pretty decent anecdotes about the pictures, and I don't know if that gives the pictures more weight or if just the fact that I took the time to, I guess, be present and pay attention to what I was looking at and what it meant to me was really interesting. And, there's some weird stuff in here. I went to Vegas twice this month, which is just wild to me. And really sad for my wallet, but we did that. I had two different moments and it was weird because they were pretty close together. But I had one with a pear tree where my dad had planted it when his dad died. And that was, something I hadn't really thought about in years. And then that kind of led into some scotch we got that was said grandfather's favorite scotch. And so we had a little toast with this scotch at one point. That was early in the month. And just some of the stuff. Probably the craziest thing for the month besides my double trip. Actually, I'm going to go with two crazy things. One, there was a dog that I walked home at, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and walked into the house and Shalomi's yelling that she needs help because there's a dog in the house. And so I'm thinking we're under attack because of the way she's going about it. But there's this little nice cute dog, and it and Jasper were just trying to sniff each other without coming too close to each other, and she had no idea what to do with it. So we spent the rest of the afternoon or evening, I guess, trying to take care of this dog and find its owner. And it was this very winding process. So that was interesting. And then probably the final thing of the pictures that I thought was kind of cool. Again, I didn't do a good job inside that anecdote. We talked about the notes section of the picture where it's like, hey, here's all of the feelings I'm thinking about when I'm seeing this. But basically, there was a Tolkien book that I had never heard of. And that was just, it was humbling, which is weird to say, like, oh, you didn't know about a book. Like, but that's kind of my thing sometimes, and especially Tolkien. There is a Tolkien book that I haven't read all this stuff, but I definitely would have guaranteed I knew everything he had written. And it was just in its own little list somewhere. So finding out there's this entire book that some people think is his best work he's done, existing out there that I'd never even heard of was really cool. And it brought up a whole lot of nostalgia, and it, didn't help that Rings of Power was coming out, and all the things that Lord of the Rings used to make me feel as a kid really kind of came bubbling back to the surface, and weirdly emotional, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, not like on the ground crying emotional, but definitely like elevated, like feelings of nostalgia, and I guess you could almost say like ancient thoughts or memories coming up, and like the things that related to seeing the movies the first time, or the first time I read the books, or the first Halloween that I went as something that wasn't a ninja, which was I told everybody I was Gimli, but I was actually trying to be Aragorn, but I wasn't really very good at close reading at the time, and so I got a little mixed up in my head which one was Gimli, which one was Aragorn. So I had an axe. Uh, it's very confusing. So like stuff like that all came out just from this little book that came up. I haven't gotten to read it yet, but it was just cool that there was this
Just
book
seeing
out
the
there that
cover.
Leaf by Niggle. Yeah,
Yeah.
just by seeing a cover and being like, oh my goodness, Tolkien, and then that it would have been like a Lord of the Rings book. We're like, oh yeah, Lord of the Rings, and I would have kept going. But it was like, wait, what is Leaf by Niggle? Tolkien wrote this? Like, is it the son? Nope, J.R.R. Tolkien. And then it just kind of stops you in your tracks and make you just sit there and think like, how does this exist? Is this a fake? Am I not who I think I am? Like, it was a minor existential crisis.
Sorry, I'm just over here Googling Leaf by Niggle now.
It's short. It's a little. So I've got a copy of it in my backpack right now. I was really hoping to read it while I was in Vegas, but this past weekend, but I ended up reading some Sanderson on my phone and had like zero time to read while we were like actually in Vegas, and so it just kind of sat there. But I mean, it's uh, paper thin. Well, it's not even a pun. That's just poor choice of words.
No, I think
It
it's a pun.
it is a fun. Okay, we'll go with it.
We'll add
But
it
no,
to your
it's
total.
it's really really small. From the article that led me to this book, they actually talked about that this was one of the only things that Tolkien himself considered like some of his best work, because he was like, this is the only thing I've written that actually just came to me. I wrote it down and I was done. Everything else was heavily edited, heavily reworked, you know, massive amounts of time and effort went into writing and rewriting and editing and retconning and everything with his books. But Leaf by Niggle was a afternoon. He just sat down, wrote it, and was done. So it's short enough to be written in an afternoon. So it's probably short enough to be read in an afternoon. But just wrote it down and he was done. He's like, here, publish this bad boy. And it's supposed to just be really sweet little coming of age story, I think. Article kind of went into detail on it, but I stopped reading after I probably got a few introductory paragraphs down. I was like, well, I'm just going to go read this. I don't want to spoil anything.
Nice. I'm gonna definitely check
Yeah.
that out. Yeah, I think on the pictures, my big takeaway is that, and I probably already knew this about myself because every now and then I will go through my phone and look through pictures, but I just need to be a little bit more conscious of trying to document some of the smaller moments in life and the big moments in life too. And so I think it's just being more, I guess the goal was being more present, right? But I don't know, it's a struggle because in the past, I've sort of seen taking pictures, taking videos as not being as in the moment. It's like, hey, just enjoy this moment. So I think there's a line that you can cross of, I remember in college, we would just goof around all the time, do silly things, especially Sam and I. And there would be one or two people that instead of just goofing around and like doing the funny dance stuff with us and like being in the midst of it, like they would just film everything on their phones. And I would get so mad because I would be like, why aren't you participating and like being a part of this? And so I think there can be a line of sort of hiding behind the camera and the video. Something that's probably more relatable to people is going to a concert. Everybody just watching the concert through their phone while they're videoing and taking pictures of things the whole time instead of just enjoying the concert. So I think you can definitely take it overboard, but then at the same time, it's nice to leave that concert and have these little snippets where it's like, oh man, that was that song, like my favorite part of that song. It was so cool to like experience that moment. So yeah, I think that's my overall takeaway is just not being too hard on myself about taking some pictures, taking some videos, because future me will appreciate it.
Oh, I think that's a great point on where he might have come up with this idea like, hey, I don't want to take these pictures. But I do the same thing. It's, hey, I don't want to be that person at the concert that's filming the whole thing. And I don't want to be the person that's pulling out from the activity because I want to take pictures. But at the same time, it really did kind of show up as this like, hey, it's really cool seeing some of this stuff. And really it cost practically zero time. Um, I guess technically we could probably attribute 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes through the entire month of stopping, taking a picture, and then maybe writing a little note about it. I mean, tiny, tiny amount of time. I think that's where you kind of need to find that line is one, is it relationship focused? Is it you trying to, you know, add to the moment? Or is it you're trying to do something that you hope will, you're taking a picture to impress people? And that's where I think the big cut for you and I are, for you and I is like, hey, is this just you trying to make your life look interesting? Is this just for the gram? Is this just for social media and TikTok and everything like that? Are you trying to, you know, repackage this moment for social kudos down the road? Or are you actually trying to enjoy this moment and appreciating it? And that's why you're taking the picture. And I think as long as you have that mindset around like, hey, this is a really good moment. I'd like to remember this moment. I think that's so cool that we have the ability to take those pictures and the videos and be able to appreciate it down the road. Because as we've all heard, you never know you're in those good times until after they've passed. And I think we'd all wish that we'd have captured more of the good times. And it's not saying that we're not in good times, but right now it's good times. If you're having a great time with your friends, those are going to be the good times down the road whenever that friend passes away or they move away and you don't get to see them again. Or you're just older and your knees don't work as well. So making sure that you're using that camera of yours for the right reasons, I think is really where that line is. It's not necessarily a time limit or anything like that. It's just make sure you're doing stuff for the right reasons, especially when it comes to, relationships and stuff you're doing with your friends. Or, things that people find meaningful. Half my pictures were just architecture or things other people have done and me appreciating it. But hey, let's get off the pedestal. Food was the second part of that challenge. What did you think about the food? I'm just going to throw this out there. You were a lot more consistent on eating well, just from what I looked at versus what I did. August was a rough month for me in terms of the clean eating I was hoping to do. But what did you think about it? Did you learn anything new about your food habits? Anything pop out?
So I think the main thing about the food journal is that it caused me to think about everything that I was eating because I knew that I would need to go and log it in the tracker. And so there'd be moments where I would think like, getting a cookie right now kind of sounds great. Or I don't know, getting a margarita at dinner. But then I would think about like, well, I need to log this in here, and it kind of it goes from making this meal be one where I'm going to feel good to where I'm going to feel neutral or I'm going to feel bad. And so that was definitely interesting. Is just anytime I was eating something, then going and writing down what I'm eating and reflecting back on that. And yeah, I think I was pretty consistent with eating well at breakfast. Like I said, I'd eat eggs and some toast, a little bit of jam and coffee nearly every day. So a little bit of sugar from the jam, but aside from that, it's, some whole wheat bread and eggs. So pretty healthy there. Um, yeah, it's in terms of dinner and lunches, that went well for a lot of the month. Because Hillary is a really awesome cook, and I'm totally cool with eating leftovers pretty much every day. And since I'm working at home a lot, I don't really have the temptation of going out to eat all that often. Now, again, like I mentioned, I kind of fell off in some of the tracking towards the back half of the month, and coincidentally, or maybe non-coincidentally, I feel like I've not eaten well this weekend, aside from eating at a Hare Krishna temple that was all like vegan food. Um, In and Out today, barbecue food truck today. Still have my normal good breakfast. Like a hole in the wall seafood place yesterday. Uh, so many cookies, so much cake, just so many sweets. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a cyclical thing for sure. So I feel like it came in at a helpful time. But I guess overall, what I would say is if you're somebody that wants to eat a little bit healthier, just start recording what you're eating full stop. And I think that will actually help you to be more conscious of what you're eating and kind of push you towards eating healthier.
100%. I think just the fact that you're writing it down, taking pictures of it, thinking about it, your body just kind of says like, hey, maybe or not your body, your mind's like, hey, maybe that Canes doesn't sound so great after all. Maybe I should try and find something else. That was kind of where I fell apart, was if my discipline was lacking because I felt like I was kind of rushed all month, just kind of a state of being that I'm working on. I still need to read that, the hustle book that you talked about. I
Mm.
actually ran into Cade, who had the book on his desk. I was like, oh, Daniel read that. I need to read it. Cade hadn't read it either yet, but it's on my list. I need to make some time for it. But the moments when I was, I'd blow through lunch working or whatever, and like 2 o'clock would hit, and I'd get to kind of a stopping point, and I would just be starving because I'd missed breakfast and it was, past lunchtime. Like 2 o'clock is just kind of where my hunger begins. And so at that point, like, I have to leave because otherwise I'm going to start yelling at people. So I would go and just try and find something to get really quick. And so I'd end up at Cane's, or I'd end up getting like, scones or something. And it wasn't doing well for me. But by the time that I realized that I was eating Cane's, I was like, wait, you have to record this in your journal. I'd be like, man, not going to put Cane's again on the journal. Dang it. And I'd be so upset. But like, because I wasn't giving myself enough time to even think, I would be making bad decisions before, like I'm not going to say instinctually, but I was following bad habits I've developed where it's like, well, I'll just go get Cane's really quick because it takes, 15, 20 minutes round trip to get there, get back to the office, and I'm eating the food before I arrive back to the office. And I get back into things and I'm not hungry anymore. So that was one of the big problems I had. I think the fix for that would be better planning and better, stacking of what I'm going to eat throughout the week. Having breakfast would probably have been a good start because that would also fix probably the hanger problems where it's like you just need to eat something before you turn into a Hulk. So I was really bad about that. I was really planning on trying to have protein shakes every morning for breakfast, but I would get to the office at 7:30. I think I'm going to have a protein shake or something for breakfast and maybe some of the snacks I keep in the drawer. And then the day would start before it was before it was supposed to every time. And then the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock and I'm, just dead. So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a struggle. Travel was really hard for me too. I mentioned we went to Vegas twice this month. I also went to Lubbock for a weekend. So I probably was in town for 1 weekend of August. And I'm sure I didn't behave myself for the 1 weekend because I was probably exhausted and excited. I'll have to go back through the calendar and actually figure out which weekend that was, but um, probably didn't do well there either. And, it really screwed up my ability to plan for the week and my ability to eat clean and eat the way I wanted to because we'd be somewhere. I'm like, well, I'm in a different city. I'm not in Amarillo. How can I not order 12 people's worth of food to eat in one sitting? Obviously. So that was a bit of a struggle point. I had some really good food, honestly. There was some stuff that made me feel good and it tasted great. But I also had plenty of stuff that I definitely should have eaten. So it was a bit give or take, but I think my biggest takeaway to wrap up this little challenge explanation was I kind of had this feeling that Cane's was messing with me, but I mean, it was legitimately making me feel awful afterwards. Like I thought it was just like a mental fog maybe. But I realized after 4 or 5 Cane's meals this August, I was actually getting borderline allergic reaction. Like my throat would be itchy and hard to talk after. I'd be coughing up phlegm. So
Wow.
Cane's is out. It, and even knowing that I still got it a couple more times, well, maybe that was a fluke and I was just having some allergies. And then I eat it. I'm like, no, not a fluke. And then a week later, I'm eating Cane's. I'm like, wait, I know better. Oh no, why did I do this? So reinforcing some habits is going to be difficult, but necessary.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I, so obviously there's the Canes thing. Do you feel like there are any other habits that throughout the food journaling that you formed or things that you saw that you want to change to have a healthier eating dynamic going forward?
Yep. So this was something that I found was a little interesting for me. Um, if you were to ask me, like, hey, Andrew, do you usually eat breakfast? I'd be like, yeah, I usually probably eat breakfast. I just don't necessarily plan. I don't have anything set in stone. But you look at the month and I don't eat breakfast. And there's this pattern emerged where I'm skipping breakfast, semi unintentionally, having a couple coffees, which I didn't put into the food journal. So I just left coffee out because I've been like quintuple the entries per day. So, uh, but I'd have coffee in the morning, and then I would almost every single day just not make a conscious effort to have food until it like built up into being a problem, and I'd overeat. And even with the overeating at lunch, having canes or having something, I'd feel bad. By the time dinner came around, I'm still in a caloric deficit to an extent, and not by much, but enough that I'm hungry by dinner time. And then I'd have dinner and dessert. And at that point, I'd blow through any, balance on my calories for starters. But also I would feel gross to my stomach. Like I was overeating because I was shoving too much into two meals. Uh, I think one of the big takeaways for me on that pattern was I really need to make a focus on making sure I'm having a good, decent breakfast. I'm not really sure when I stopped doing that, but it was a little bit problematic. And then snacking, all of my snacks were unhealthy, like literally every single one of them. I did not have a healthy snack. It's something I need to probably work on replacing with apples or some kind of fruit or something like that. Heck, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich really would be better than half the candy and stuff I was eating. So that was another interesting pattern that I didn't really like going forward would have expected to record. Like, oh yeah, you eat candy like once a day, every other day or so. But yeah, kind of interesting. Not paying attention to what I'm doing, Daniel, is what I'm saying. I'm letting momentum take me away.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big advantage of the journaling is you realize how much you feel like something is just every now and then. And then you see, holy cow, I never eat breakfast or I'm eating candy every day. I was trying to look through it. Like I said, this past month was a pretty solid month. I mean, some of it maybe it depends on like your definition of eating well. Like for me, if I'm just eating some pretzels and a protein shake as a snack, I consider that a good snack.
Yeah.
It's not anything like super sugary or whatever. But yeah, and I I know though, and I didn't record it, but I know my bad snacks in the past probably 5 days. I would imagine quadruple the bad snacks that I had for the month while I was recording. So yeah, writing it down really works wonders.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Most of the stuff I did, it was also like the snacking was also in those moments where like I basically blanked out mentally until I got some food in me. And it's like, oh man, did it again. Got those
Yeah.
Reese's.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where it's like the meal routines can be beneficial, not necessarily just waiting until you eat or until you're hungry, because if you wait till you're hungry, it's more likely you make a bad decision.
oh,
So,
absolutely.
so
It's
the
so easy to justify stuff whenever you want it.
yeah,
Like, but if I had a protein shake or a double scoop of protein shake in me, and I was like, I should have canes. I'm like, that's a bad choice. Let's not do that. Because
yeah,
honestly, almost every day I wanted canes, but you could see the days that I did do better were almost always the days that I had a protein shake. And those were the days like, oh, I have enough self control because I'm not just ravenous that I can choose for myself and not just completely justify eating a pizza at lunch or ordering burgers on Uber Eats, whatever it was. There's lots of
hmm
bad decisions. Throw a rock and you'll hit one. So
yeah,
definitely eating with a plan is better than not.
totally. All right,
Well,
you
all
want to talk
right.
about skincare?
Let's get into it. Let's get into skincare for the female audience, uh, per at least one female audience member's request. And I don't know if there's others. Shalome may be on her own, but she specifically asked that I keep in mind our female audience and we should do a skincare challenge. So here we are. Challenge number, I believe, 7. Are we at 8? guess this would be 8. Challenge number 8 is going to be a skincare routine. So I already kind of know what I'm going to do. What are you going to do, Daniel? What are you going to change?
I am not completely sure yet because I fairly recently um, got this skincare sort of care package for. I'm trying to look up it's called Teague Hanley, and I guess they're a partner for the AUDL, which is the Professional Frisbee League, and so they gave all of the players this skincare box thing with like a face wash and moisturizer. So I've been doing that, and to me, it feels like, wow, I have a skincare routine now. So asking me to do more than that, I don't know. I need to think about it. So maybe I'll do this this Teague Hanley group a favor since they gave me some free stuff. Maybe I'll see what else they have, and since I'm just doing a morning routine, maybe they've got something for a nighttime routine, and I'll give that a try. And aside from that, I wear so much more sunscreen than I used to. That's probably one of the best things you can honestly do is if you're out in the sun a lot, which I am, liberally applying sunscreen.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I was about to get on my pedestal as well about sunscreen. I was like, man, I am not the right person to be preaching about this. But that's everything I've seen. Sunscreen is so incredibly important. Did one of the things in your morning routine that might be like a SPF moisturizer?
It is. Yep.
Perfect. That is, from what I understand, from Men's Health magazine and other moments of clarity thinking about skincare on the internet. The single best thing you can do is that SPF moisturizer every single day. Um, Personally, I'm going to be doing face wash. Let me actually get off the pedestal. We're going backwards here. We're going to go Neanderthal. I hate face wash. Face wash. See, can't even say it. I hate it so much. Drives me insane. It always gets in my eyes, no matter how hard I try. But that's going to probably be my biggest change. I'm going to try and use face wash, and I'm pissed about it. Honestly, I hate it. I hate it so much. So I'll be trying to use some face wash every morning and every night. And then I've got a SPF moisturizer that I'll be using every day. That has actually been something I've done pretty well, especially since going bald. Uh, and then I've got some night stuff where it gets a little weird to me, but there's like eye cream and a nighttime moisturizer that feels really thick and different. Some exfoliating cream that I'm supposed to use every couple of days. So I'm going to try and do all this. Partly for the face, but also apparently I've got to do it all over my head. Something I was reading on the plane back yesterday. So I'm going to treat the face and the head as the same thing and really try and get that good face wash moisturization protocol going and probably do a morning and evening routine. And I'll try and post some before and after pictures and see if there's any difference. But I guess we'll see. I hope the girls really enjoy this. And honestly, I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope at least the one female appreciates our attempt at listening. But I hope
This
everybody
one's
enjoys
for
it.
you,
Hopefully
Shalami.
learn. Yeah, this is for her. But I think it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It's nothing I've ever really put much thought towards. And honestly, I've resisted to a fair extent, which is probably not healthy. But here we are. So you're
Yep.
going to do anything? Are you just going to track, hey, this is what I did every day? Basically, same thing as a president, try and hit some daily stuff. Or, are you going to do anything wild? Attempt a spa day with a face exfoliation and a skin peel, a chemical peel.
Skin peel sounds terrifying and awful. So anything with chemical in it, no, I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I'll add something as far as like a nighttime routine. And I think I'll obviously take a picture here in a moment. I'm a little sunburned, so this will work out well because at the beginning of the month, I'll be like, oh, he looks a little bit like a tomato. And then at the end of the month, I'll not have a Frisbee tournament for a week or so. So I'm sure I'll look great. So I don't really need to do anything is what I'm getting at, but no, I'll try to take some pictures throughout. I'm curious to see if there's really going to be all that much of a difference in a month, but we'll see. Maybe.
So I actually did one of the chemical scary things. Shalomi got me a facial for my birthday, I think 2 years ago at some point. And I went in, did this facial, and I'm not going to lie, I came out very relaxed. It was a very pleasant experience. And my face felt weird, if that makes sense. Like it felt very different, plump even. Like plump, not in the fat way. Plump in the like filled with vigor kind of plump. Uh, it was uncanny. I'm just gonna put that there. It was well worth the experience, honestly. Like I definitely felt different, looked somewhat different. So that is probably something I'll try and book up for this month if I can find a free day. I'll probably go do that as well and try and supercharge this health routine on my face. Especially now that I'm bald. I think I definitely had hair last time, so I wonder if they'll do my whole head. Get right, man. When you shave your head, this is TMI for everybody, including you, Daniel. But when you shave your head down, you find a lot more pimples than you generally expect to be hiding under your hair. And even that's not just the first time. Every time I'll like have like a centimeter of hair. Like I'll shave my head like Friday, shave my head again today. New pimples that I don't even see under my like 5 o'clock shadow of a head. And it's just like, what is happening under there? It's weird. So it might be worthwhile.
Yeah, I know I've got pimples on my head. I can feel them. I will be combating the Michael Jordan until the bald spot appears. And then I'll be right there. I'll be right there with you and Brett. We'll be bald brothers, except I'll
Bro,
have a mustache.
that, I have a mustache every once in a while with this. So I get it. It's super freeing to be bald though. If anybody, you know what? Let's anybody listening that wants to shave their head, give me a holler. It is phenomenal. I almost every day still, and it's been like 9 months, and I'm still almost every day like, oh, this is the best decision of my life. It feels so good. But anyways, well, you'll get there. You'll probably wish you would have done it sooner. But whenever you're ready, man, you let me know. I got you.
Fair
Hell,
enough.
I might even take the razor for you. Well, all right, guys, that's it for now. Keep up with the website. That's where we'll have all of the information for this last challenge. You can find out the old episode. We'll have a little link in the new episode show notes as well. But going forward, you'll see the challenge number 8, facial. We'll just call it the facial. It'll be really weird to say out loud, but that's what we're going to do. Keep up with us and we'll try and get you guys update on how it goes and if Daniel and I magically turn into beautiful men. So until next time, we look forward to connecting with you soon.